the road to WrestleMania for the women's division in the WWE. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions kind of revolving around the women's division. Also, some of your prominent stars aren't really being featured, or maybe the storylines don't really make a whole lot of sense. So we're going to kind of deep dive into this. We know WWE kind of needs to do a better job for the women's division. I think that would be an understatement. So let's talk a little bit about it, what we expect, what could happen on the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, we're going to go woman by woman here, just try to see what we think the road to WrestleMania is going to be. Let's start with what we already know, okay? We have a couple matches that are basically set. This first one that we're going to bring up technically isn't set, but it's going to happen. We have Rhea Ripley, we have Io Sky, we have Bianca Belair. They're all wrapped together on this road to WrestleMania, but the question is, what does it look like? Does one of these people turn heel? Right now, we got 3 baby faces in this group. What happens?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of tough because you've got Rhea, who's like a baby face, but like no matter what she does, she is cheered, right? So you kind of can't really turn her heel because she's going to get cheered. Almost like old school Randy Orton in a sense. Like, doesn't matter what you do, we're going to cheer. Bianca, even though she may have helped attack Jade, we don't really know. I don't really see them pulling the trigger here. I think and Io, obviously, I think we get kind of what we got a little bit on Raw this week. I think we get the I've been overlooked for far too long. Yes, you're Rhea Ripley, you're Bianca Belair, but I'm Io Sky. I'm one of the best in the world as well. So don't forget that. I think we kind of get that. I think we get a little bit of what we saw on Raw. Now, I would have liked to see a little bit from Rhea specifically about the promo backstage. Would have been 2 weeks ago now. Like, hey, this was my fault. This is like, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the reason. I would have liked to see that a little bit more, but that also kind of would struggle to play into the triple threat perfectly because, yeah, it makes sense. Like, oh, hey, I lost my title because of you. It's my fault. Well, then it feels like she has no chance to really win if she kind of goes down that path. So she's got kind of the slipperiest slope, I'd say. But I'd say the other two are kind of set in stone.
Yeah, I think that they backtracked Rhea's promo from 2 weeks ago because they realized they're in a babyface triple threat situation. And you need to have someone kind of be the tweener. And so you had Rhea Ripley run out there and sort of just be an asshole about the whole thing, right? That's what they wanted her to do. I agree with you. They're going to cheer her no matter what, which isn't always a bad thing. But you got to at least establish somebody as being the bad person that the other two can at least, ping pong back and forth with on a weekly basis in terms of like, I hate you, no, I hate you type deal. Rhea Ripley is going to be that one, it looks like, unless we do randomly find out Bianca Belair did attack Jade Cargill. That would be absolutely outstanding to me. I would love that road to WrestleMania, but at the moment, all I can foresee is kind of the same thing we got on Raw every week. They're going to have Rhea, Bianca, and then Io is going to kind of get pushed to the side every week, and the story is going to be kind of Io, trying to live up to them, establish herself on her level, and that'll be that.
Yeah. If I had to pick, I'd probably pick Bianca. Like
really?
I would just like a more edgier. Like, not what I think's going to happen.
The one flipping off the camera on TikTok?
Exactly.
I saw that one.
Yeah, that one.
Bianca.
Or the, hey, me and my friend attacked my other friend. That sort of thing.
That'd be nice.
You could kind of get maybe a little bit edgier Bianca to where it doesn't fully, like, give it away that she attacked Jay, but everybody at the end of the day is going to be like, okay, yeah, you had something to do with this. You're not exactly the stand-up model citizen,
The EST.
Well, she's always the EST. She would just be the meanest at that point.
That'd be I like that.
Yeah. Right off the top of the head, you like that, huh?
Oh my God. We got a lot more to talk about. Let's get to it. Let's start also where we already know. Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton. I will say on this one, the road to WrestleMania looks pretty clear. It looks like we're going to get a lot of Charlotte Flair. We're going to get a lot of Charlotte Flair. She is, she said that she wants to establish herself over the women's division once again, basically take her place at the queen of the table, right? Here's the thing about this that I kind of wanted to talk about instead of really booking it. This feud right now is falling a little flat to people as well. We kind of have this feud falling flat and a little bit of the Gunther J stuff. But what can WWE do on the road to WrestleMania to change fans' opinions about the Charlotte Flair-Tiffany Stratton feud?
Yeah, I think it needs to be more Tiffany Stratton.
Yep.
I think that it needs to be more of, hey, like, people always compared me to you, but I'm Tiffany Stratton. We got that a little bit like promo wise, a little bit, but I would like to see more of like an aggressive, assertive like Tiffany in terms of I can take you out anywhere. I can be stronger than you. I can be better than you. Even maybe in her matches, she dominates a little bit more. Things like that. We've seen a lot of Charlotte, to your point. And a lot of Charlotte isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it feels like Charlotte is up here. Tiffany's down here. I get that's the story they're trying to play, but we got to give Tiffany some legs to stand on. She is your champion. You could even say, since she won that title with the Money in the Bank briefcase, like they haven't really done a great job in terms of making her look really strong. She looks good in the ring because she's fantastic, but she hasn't looked like strong and dominating. I think that's a real key to kind of bring this back to where you can see, okay, even playing field.
Stop doing the underdog thing for Tiffany Stratton. That's not what we wanted to see. It's okay that you've done it so far. We have time, obviously. But most people wanted to see Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair square off because you would just have the attitudes going at each other. Tiffany Stratton is a classic B word, and so is Charlotte Flair. And what we wanted to see was them just colliding, the two biggest in that, right? Just going at each other. And that was going to be like fireworks in the ring and be awesome. But all we've gotten so far is just Charlotte kind of stalking in the shadows and then attacking after the matches and standing tall over her. Tiffany needs to come out, get a mic, establish herself to Charlotte Flair, and then attack. And then we need to get this thing rolling. We need a lot more just like physical interaction between these two because it should be a heated feud. Again, we got time and I hope for it.
Yeah, we got some time. I think like your point, you said get her a mic. Like it's important if they do get her a mic, hey, don't just do the cookie cutter like, hey, I'm going to talk about this and this and this. And it's going to sound like I rehearsed this a lot. Like I want to see Tiffany Stratton. Like I want to know who Tiffany is. I want her to
loose.
Yeah. And for her, like kind of maybe, I don't want to speak for her obviously, but it almost feels like, hey, I don't want to fail here. Like, don't be afraid to fail. Like if you go out and you fail, like, oh, well, you failed, you tried, you at least did something, you at least tried to be kind of assertive or different or stand out. I want that.
Worst case scenario, you make Charlotte Flair look even stronger, which WWE would love. So,
yeah.
Let's move on to the women's champions, the other women's champions. We got Chelsea Green, the president, the U.S. title holder, the leader of the Secret Service. Yep. What does her path to WrestleMania look like?
Well, a match with Selena Vega, I guess, would be. I don't know when that's going to happen.
I'll stop you. The rumor right now that's floating and circulating on the internet
love a good rumor.
Is a Nikki Bella return to face Chelsea Green by the time Road to WrestleMania comes around or WrestleMania comes around. I think if you have Chelsea Green go over on that could be fantastic. Talk about two divas absolutely going after it in the ring. Chelsea Green has said before that she belonged in the Divas era, and this would be her way of getting a shot at that. I think it would be absolute gold. I know people feel otherwise on Nikki Bella, but that's the rumor, and I think it sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, I do.
Of course. Yeah, I know she says she belonged in that era, so like it would kind of make sense. You'd wrap a bow on it, I guess, basically. Like we got to see what we didn't get a chance to see, obviously. Whatever they do have Chelsea do is going to be fantastic. It's going to be phenomenal. I would like to see her maybe wrestle some different people. It feels like we get Shin every week, and we thought maybe Piper, eventually her and Piper are going to go at it. Maybe that's further down the line, but just something, even if it is her coming out, cutting promos and having a random match here, a random match there, something like that, I'm fine with. The Nikki Bella stuff, I wouldn't be excited about it because I'm not the biggest Nikki Bella fan. And I think there are probably some women that kind of deserve that opportunity. But at the same time, I mean, you could put me or you in there with Chelsea Green and she's going to make us look phenomenal. So, I can't be upset.
I volunteer as tribute on that one. Any day of the week. No matter what, she needs to have a prominent spot at WrestleMania because good Lord, does that woman make the most of her time. So that needs to happen. On the flip side, somebody who's struggling sort of, not her fault, but WWE is struggling like hell to kind of book this IC title. And, tonight she has a match against Raquel for that Intercontinental title. But what does Lyra Valkyria's road to WrestleMania look like? Does she even have the title going into WrestleMania? Does she drop it to Raquel here? What does it look like?
I think storyline for Raquel would make sense for her to kind of drop the title here to Raquel. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I know people would probably say otherwise, but to me, this is like the most underwhelming. I was really excited when she got the title. It was like her or Dakota, either one. It's a great choice. You could do whatever. And then they got it on Lyra and you look at it and it's like, okay, well, she had a couple of matches, I guess. And then she had a random in the crowd interview during a Netflix break that not everybody got to see, and it wasn't really that great, but she at least gave it a shot. They need to focus on her more. They need to make her kind of more prominent. They need to have her come out to the ring. She can, even if she's not the best on the mic, just have her cut something, have somebody interrupt her, and then they go at it in a match. I think that's a perfect way to do it. Her strongest thing is in the ring. So I would like to see her in the ring more. I feel like we don't really get that. Yeah. So it's like, how can you give somebody the workhorse women's championship, right? Because, I mean, the men's IC is kind of the workhorse. So just translate it over there. You give it to somebody that's a workhorse. You give it to somebody, hey, she can have a great match with anybody. She can defend this anytime, anywhere, and she's just that great. Well, why don't we get to see it?
Yeah. I've thought about it a lot. I don't think they give it to Raquel. I don't think they'd pull it off. Would I like to see it because I just want to see some crazy shenanigans for the Judgment Day stuff? Sure. I'm not even saying that to defend Raquel, even though I think she's doing great work, but I just don't think that's it. When it comes to Lyra's road to WrestleMania, I just see them throwing a lot at the wall and seeing what sticks. And if nothing sticks, then I think that you're going to be right. And they're going to have a multi-woman match for the championship at WrestleMania. I think that no matter what, we need to feature the IC title at WrestleMania because it is the first year of it. And if you want to make it, establish it as something that other women should be going after, you put it on the biggest, grandest stage of them all, which is WrestleMania. And then you kind of just throw whatever Raw women are in there. I mean, what do you got? You got Maxine, you got Natalya, Dakota Kai again, Ivy Nile. Mm-hmm. You kind of just throw them all in the ring and say...
Maybe a Becky Lynch.
Maybe a Becky Lynch. That would be best case scenario. Mm-hmm. But you kind of just throw them all in the ring and say, have a good match, I guess. Because right now they have established no story for it. And so... the road to WrestleMania is like, I don't know. I don't even know if WWE's decided on anything yet.
Zoe Stark?
Put
her in there. Sure, why not? Yeah, it's one of those things where, I kind of made a joke of it like at the very beginning, like, oh yeah, we're just going to get a 6-woman ladder match because WWE loves to do their multi-person ladder matches for titles at WrestleMania. They just, whether it's a tag team or an IC or it doesn't really matter. But now you look at it and it's like, oh no, this is actually maybe becoming a real thing. Like this is not what I envisioned. It's so bad. This is not good. Like you said, they're kind of throwing stuff at the wall. They've kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit because they've just dropped the ball.
They've clipped their wings.
Yeah, I mean, completely. Yeah. They've given it to her. And then they're just like, here you go, but you're not going to have any time.
And I want to establish, I'm not saying that I love Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of her. I wanted her to beat Dakota Kai when they first had the match. Like, I love Lyra. It's just when you get the belt and then WWE's like, okay, well, now you have it. Check back in a few weeks for something. It's like, no one's going to succeed in that situation. No one in all of wrestling. So it just sucks that it's happening to her.
They did a really good job, and then we'll make this last point and we'll move on. They did a really good job throughout the tournament, making it feel like a big thing. The finale, Dakota Kai versus Lyra, like they had the promo packages and they had this build up and it was like this big old thing. And then they just, they got to do better.
Not good. We'll talk about the woman who is arguably the biggest woman on the roster that doesn't have a title right now, if you don't count Rhea Ripley being in the title shot. Liv Morgan. Mm-hmm. Raquel is going after the IC title. Mm-hmm. They have the tag team titles, but Liv is not really involved in anything right now on Raw going into the road to WrestleMania. So what are we going to do on the road to WrestleMania for Liv? Who does she end up fighting at WrestleMania?
Yeah, it feels weird to not have something kind of established for her. I think maybe they're saying, hey, Liv is so good, it doesn't matter. So we can wait until the last possible second. That's what it feels like. Yeah. I'm still going to say her and Raquel versus Nikki and Alexa. Now, is that going to like really excite me? Is that going to really move the needle for me necessarily? No. I think Liv kind of deserves to be in something a little bit better, and Alexa for that matter, I think would deserve to kind of be in something a little bit better. But that just kind of seems like a 1 + 1 = 2 sort of thing. Like there's nothing really for them to do. There's nothing really for them to do. Let's just have a match sort of thing. It feels weird. They made those tag titles feel big again. And then Liv and Raquel have won them. And since then, it's just like, oh, well, Liv doesn't really come out and cut promos. I know she cut one in the Netflix break of Raw last week, but if you don't have the international, like if you're from the US, you didn't get to see it. So like you don't really have anything there. They're more concerned about like keeping Judgment Day together with Finn and you got to trust Dom sort of thing, but they don't really care about themselves. So they're in a weird spot. Especially after the year Liv had last year. she deserves something. I don't think she's going to get it.
Yeah, she's kind of in the same boat as Drew McIntyre, I would say, where it's two people that have earned the MVP right of a lot of people's opinions over the 2024 into 2025 wrestling season, right? And it just so happens that they ended up at Mania time and there was kind of nothing to do. Like when there was a downtime for them during the year, just happened to fall at the biggest time of the year, I guess. I don't know how you got yourself in the situation. I know a lot of people are saying the Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss thing, which does seem like something that they wanted to do because Alexa was eliminated by Liv in the Rumble and in the Chamber, but we've gotten nothing about that so far as of recording this today. Maybe we do get some Alexa Wyatt stuff on last SmackDown, and maybe that does start to turn up, but at the moment it just feels like, well, Liv, figure it out. And that may be the IC title scene. That may be somehow she jumps into the main title scene in some way, shape, or form. I don't know, but we need to get Liv something going ASAP.
Yeah, and maybe, man, you know what? I got a fantastic idea.
Uh-oh.
So as that we're recording this, like you said, maybe something happens on SmackDown and just debunks this whole entire theory.
Yeah.
But maybe on Raw on Monday, we find out Dom's been doing you a favor and you a favor and you a favor. Maybe Dom's got one more favor up his sleeve and he has something planned. And that's how we get Liv's path to Mania.
Dirty Dom will fix it.
Yeah.
I agree. You know what? That's the smartest thing ever. Maybe all these women just need to go talk to Dirty Dom because he knows what's best, right? Anyway, we'll move on. Jade, Cargill, Naomi. We talked about this in our podcast from last week. If you didn't see it, we did a weekly wrap when we went into depth about this, but we kind of both said that Naomi and Jade will kind of just be sprinkled into SmackDowns. Nothing huge on the road to WrestleMania. I don't know if this match will even take place in WrestleMania. We think maybe even like a SmackDown before or after WrestleMania, kind of that sort of big match spot. But we think that they're kind of waiting on Bianca to be reinserted back into this feud before anything big happens with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think maybe it'd be a little bit of a stretch in my eyes, but some way, somehow, Jade is maybe like a bird in Bianca's ear and maybe is kind of being a distraction, for lack of a better term. Like she's kind of just looming around like, I can't believe Naomi did that. Can you believe that? And Bianca maybe isn't as focused for her championship match. Maybe that's the story we get in terms of the triple threat stuff, and Bianca not being at her best because she's worried about all this Jade stuff. But in terms of like dedicating a bunch of time, episode to episode, week in, week out, I don't think we're getting a ton of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of just our opinion on it, right? We're going to see some more stuff here and there, but I wouldn't say that they're going to ramp this up going into WrestleMania hot. Like this is going to continue past WrestleMania. There's going to be more layers to the story. So
yeah, and I don't really know for right now how you could ramp it up because Jade can't come out every week and attack Naomi. Eventually, Naomi's got to stand up for herself, right? She can't lose every time.
She gets wheeled out like that guy in SpongeBob or SpongeBob when he has no arms or legs. That's what's going to end up happening. Bayley. She's kind of one of the four horsewomen.
Bayley.
Hey, we love some Bayley. They're going to be singing that at the international crowds. Mm-hmm. They love that stuff. Yep. But she lost the IC number one contender match to Raquel via the Liv Dom stuff. So what does Bayley's road to WrestleMania look like? Does it look like she gets involved with Liv, as we were just talking about her? Maybe that sort of ramps up, given that she just helped cost her the match there. And then, of course, we obviously have Roxanne Perez, which is what we all think might happen. What I think is going to happen, I think we get Roxanne and Bayley not at Mania, but at NXT Stand and Deliver as a send-off for Miss Roxanne from NXT.
Yeah, I think you do make an interesting point, though. Bayley versus Liv, kind of like a singles match. Like, you don't really need anything for that.
That sounds like Damien
It
Drew.
Sounds like Damien Drew.
Damien Drew, baby.
But at the same time, like, you know what? If that's what happened, like, I wouldn't be mad about it. Like, I'd be like the Damien Drew stuff. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, you know, we get something. Like, cool, I guess. But yeah, I think the Bayley Roxanne stuff is pretty much almost set in stone. I don't know what's a little bit less than stone, but whatever that's set in, that's what it's at. Set in putty. We're pretty much almost there, and that's kind of what everybody wants to see. Stand and Deliver also, like, they're doing such a good job with those, and the NXT roster is already loaded as it is anyway. Kind of just add Bayley to that just to, like, make that card even better.
It may be a dual retirement from NXT. Kind of like a Roxanne gets to move up to the main card because obviously she's been involved in the Rumble Chamber matches on Raw. They're ready for her to come up, and Raw after Mania, big time stuff there. That's when we normally do that. And then Bayley has obviously been giving to NXT over the past few months, going back down there and and really doing some great stuff. So it might be one of those things where they both kind of just have a great match at Stand and Deliver and tip their caps. And Roxanne will obviously be back to eventually do what Bayley's doing now, but maybe something where we kind of send off Bayley as well. Say thank you for everything.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a break for Bayley after Mania.
Yeah.
Or Mania season, I guess.
And it's needed.
Yeah, I mean, she's been everywhere. She's been doing a whole bunch of stuff, including like the celebrity NBA game. Like she was there. She's doing a bunch of promotional stuff. Now, if she wants to take time off, awesome. If she wants to also keep going, awesome. Yeah. But I think that story in and of itself is like a, hey, if you want to take some time off, take a month off or something like that.
We love some
Come
Bayley.
back with a new theme.
Yeah, come back with a new, good Lord. We talked about earlier, we probably should have gone right into her. Alexa Bliss. Yep. What the hell's going on with her, man? We saw her at the Royal Rumble. She obviously had the pop of the night, in my opinion. Yeah. And then, of course, she had her chamber stuff. But other than that, big old nothing. SmackDown was this week previous, so this might already be outdated because there are rumors that they are going to do something big for her, the Wyatt Six, in the coming time. So we may be eating our words on this one, but what does Alexa Bliss Road to WrestleMania look like? Or do you think that they're going to wait for the Wyatt Sixes stuff happen a little bit down the line and maybe Alexa doesn't make the Mania cut?
Yeah, I mean, there's rumors of that whole Wyatt Six stuff kind of swirling around, and Uncle Howdy Bo has been, I guess, able to return. He's been cleared to return, so like I guess now we'll get some more Wyatt Six stuff happening. I wouldn't be surprised if we get something on SmackDown. Like you said, at the time we're recording this, we may already be a little bit outdated, which is probably the case because that's kind of what happens. But
our luck.
Yeah, just our luck. But I think if we do get anything, it's just like a small promo package, like with her kind of like confirming to everybody like that she's involved with them. I think that's kind of really all we get. And as we head closer to Mania, like if it's not the tag stuff, then I don't see anything. Like it's one or the other. Either you're going to have a tag match with Nikki versus Liv and Raquel, but I'm thinking, as much as I just said Liv and Raquel versus them, like you really got to ramp that up, and it's got to be like now, because you're running out of time, especially with like the Wyatt Six stuff. Like I understand like the story is kind of already there for them, and you kind of got it shoehorned a little bit with Liv and stuff, but you got to ramp it up and you got to have them on TV like now. So I'm a little worried that that's not the case.
Yeah, I think best case scenario, we get backstage stuff with Alexa on SmackDown from here and there. And then maybe, you know, it's WrestleMania and they do like to every once in a while have non-match segments that are fun at WrestleMania. Maybe we just get a quick Alexa backstage appearance that leads her out to the stage and there's some Wyatt Six shenanigans. Maybe WrestleMania is the day that we do kind of like officially make Alexa Bliss part of the Wyatt Six, and that can get people excited for the future of Alexa Bliss post WrestleMania. But at the moment, I don't see it. I don't see any match for her in the future unless you, like you said, they just like from tomorrow just ramp this up and they get it going, because I mean, they haven't even they're not even on the same shows right now. So the tag match seems as far away as possible at the moment.
Yeah. And I guess she's technically on SmackDown now, right?
Alexa.
Yeah. Well, and they're on there too.
No, Liv and Raquel are Raw.
Oh, you're talking about Liv. I was talking about
Wyatt Six. Yeah. Well, no, any of it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you just get that confirmation of that on a SmackDown, and then like you said, then Liv and Raquel also have to travel to SmackDown, which that hasn't really happened yet. So I don't really know where they stand.
Yeah.
Which seems, before we go on, like that's a big misstep. Like Alexa had the 2-year layoff. Everybody was wanting her to come back. She comes back at the Rumble, like you said, pop of the night. She hasn't lost a step. She's fantastic. She gets pinned in the chamber, and you're like, oh, okay, like surely they're setting up something. And then they've done nothing.
Yeah.
Another like just failure on their part to really capitalize on Alexa right now.
I agree with that. Last one we're going to do, Nia Jax. We haven't seen her since Chamber, which I guess wasn't that long ago, but we haven't seen her since Chamber. She was doing the Trish Stratus stuff is what we think that's probably going to lead to. But Nia is another one who had a fantastic 2024-2025 campaign. And it seems to be WrestleMania time's coming around and things are ramping down right when they should be ramping up. But what is Nia Jax going to do on her road to WrestleMania? How does she get there?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of agree that it's probably going to be her versus Trish. But let me ask you, would you like to see that? Because you talk about these... we've talked about multiple women so far, like an Alexa Bliss or maybe like a Bayley Roxanne. I would much rather see that on Mania versus instead of Nia Trish or even Jade and Naomi, like something like that. I'd rather see something like that. So is that something you'd even want to see?
No, I think that the match at Elimination Chamber proved that, obviously Trish is loved. I'm not going to hate on Trish Stratus ever. She's in many people's eyes, the GOAT, and rightfully so. I ain't going to argue with you. But, it was a Canada thing. It was a big Canada 25-year match. It's just like we have, I think the crowd at this point is knowledgeable to the point where we know how much talent there is on the roster, that when you do see these people come back and get big time matches on shows when you could be having this person or this person, it does feel a little bit bad. And at the moment, there's like no story really involved with this since Chamber at all. Again, SmackDown might have happened. We might be completely wrong, but it does feel like it would just be forced. The Mania cards have been very condensed over the past few years. Triple H does that with PLEs. He condenses stuff, and to force a match like this onto that show would feel like for sure, I'm going to go get my snack right now, right? Like, I just don't see it happening. And it's no disrespect to either woman. It really isn't. Love Nia Jax's work. Think she's incredible. Think she's improved. And obviously, Trish stands for herself. But, like, me personally, meh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. It's kind of like, and I also felt that way about the Chelsea Nikki one. So maybe you just cut out Nikki and Trish, and maybe you just do Nia versus Chelsea Green.
I'm a Nikki fan. That's why I loved it so much.
Yeah, I know. But maybe like you talk about like Nia doesn't really have a path. Well, Chelsea doesn't really have a clear path either. I guess in terms of like an emergency, hey, we don't really have anything here for either of you. The mic work would be really good.
Oh, yeah.
I could see them both in the ring yelling at each other, and you're just like, oh, my God, somebody please just shut up.
Hey, Chelsea,
that would be good.
Chelsea selling for Nia would be money. Mm-hmm. She would make Nia look like she's the Hulk, and it's awesome. So
yeah, so, I mean, something like that maybe, but I think we do probably get Trish and Nia and then the Chelsea Nikki maybe, but there's definitely some paths that they should be putting more emphasis on and more of like hey, this is definite. Let's build this up.
Before we end it, any other names? Those were kind of the big time names. But we do have people like Roxanne Perez. Well, we already talked about Roxanne, but Dakota Kai, Becky Lynch. Looks like we've kind of missed the deadline on that one. A lot of people thought she was going to come back either Rumble or Chamber. Didn't happen. Ivy Nile, anybody like that? You see anybody? I just don't think any of these people make the Mania card. That's why, unless we do some multi-man ladder match like we said with Lyra.
Yeah, I think that's probably your only way.
Yeah.
And maybe you sneak a Zelina in with Chelsea. Maybe that ends up going that route.
That'd be great.
I think all in all, like you said, I don't really see a ton of the names making the cut, but I think more for WWE, it's like this is the best women's roster in terms of top to bottom, main roster and NXT, like just all together. We need to do a better job about incorporating storylines, giving them promos, giving them feuds. Like, they're not on screen enough. Like somebody like an Ivy Nile, for instance, like the American Made stuff. I thought that storyline was great. I thought that, hey, we need to make sure we win these titles before Master Gable comes back. Thought it was fantastic. Well, she lost, and that's kind of it. Maxine Dupree, even though like somebody may view her as like a comedy character, she's improved in the ring as well. Like, you could give her something credible. Zelina, Alexa, like you said, there's so many women right now that are just not on screen, and it's like, can we please get more of that?
Yeah, it's not even like trying to push an agenda. Like, legit, these people are great in the ring. They're great talents, and they're over. Let's get them some more time. Get an Evolution 2 playing, WWE. Let's have that on the bingo card for 2025, which it has been rumored, but they absolutely deserve it. But that was a lot of the road to WrestleManias that we think for the women's division in WWE. It's going to be exciting if any of that happens. I'm looking forward to a lot of it, but there were a lot of question marks left. But that's the fun part. Road to WrestleMania, they had a lot of questions. So good stuff there. Follow us on all of our socials, though, at CODWrestlePod. Come watch our live stream of Raw tonight on youtube.com/at CODWrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree in our bio. It's got all of our socials in it, our YouTube, our TikTok, our Instagram, all that stuff. So follow all that. Come comment and stuff. We love talking to you guys. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.